Let's talk about his basketball of it all. Which teams have reached out?
The other day I said 10 to 12 teams. I counted today. Outside of one organization, maybe two, I've heard from every organization in the league.
That's Rich Paul, LeBron James's agent, sitting across from Max Kellerman with a whiteboard between them, and on that whiteboard, 10 teams, real teams. Teams that have called, pitched, and begged for a chance to sign the greatest scorer in NBA history. Because here's the thing that still doesn't feel real if you say it out loud. LeBron James is not a Laker anymore. After 8 seasons, a championship, and a franchise record run through the record books, it's over. And right now, 5 teams are in a genuine, real, we might actually get him conversation to be his next, and maybe final, home. So in this video, we're breaking down exactly what's on that board, what Rich Paul actually said about each team, and why one city might already be the favorite. Let's get into it. Let's rewind, because you need the full picture before any of the team talk makes sense. LeBron's final year in Los Angeles was already strange. He was sharing the franchise with Luka Doncic, who'd been dropped into LA's lap in the most shocking trade in modern NBA history. LeBron adjusted. He slid into a third-option connector role, screener, secondary playmaker, the guy who made everyone else's job easier. And for a stretch, it worked. The Lakers were competitive, occasionally dangerous, occasionally frustrating. Then April 2nd happened. In a game against Oklahoma City, Luka went down with a hamstring strain. Grade 2. Same night, Austin Reeves strained his oblique. Both were done for the rest of the regular season. LeBron carried what was left. The Lakers beat Houston in 6 games in the first round with neither of their other 2 stars available. Genuinely, one of the more impressive team wins of his career at 41 years old. But then, Oklahoma City, the 2025 champions and the #1 defense in basketball, swept them out of the second round in 4 straight. LeBron said it plainly after Game 1, that against a defense that good, you need multiple guys who force it to make impossible choices, and without Luka on the floor, the Lakers didn't have that. Luka watched the whole thing from the sideline. Afterward, he said something that hit different once you knew what came next. That he thought this group had real chemistry, that playing alongside Reeves and LeBron was special. Past tense in a way, even though nobody said it out loud yet. Because less than 2 months later, the second shoe dropped. LeBron told the Lakers directly, through Rich Paul, that he was moving on, not retiring, moving on. Jeannie Buss put out the kind of statement you put out when you know it's real and there's no saving it. Thankful for 8 years, thankful for the 2020 title in the bubble, wishing him well. LeBron posted his own goodbye, called it an honor, said he hoped he made a few people proud. 8 seasons, 1 ring. And now, at 41 years old, heading into a record-breaking 24th NBA season, LeBron James is entering the open market looking for a new jersey for the first time since 2018. Now here's where it gets fun, because normally this kind of free agency chess happens behind closed doors. Agents don't hand you the board. Rich Paul did. On July 3rd, Paul sat down on the Game Over podcast with Max Kellerman and pulled out a literal whiteboard listing out LeBron's options. 10 teams total made appearances at some point in the conversation. The Knicks, Warriors, Celtics, Mavericks, and Spurs among the wider net. But 5 kept coming back as what insiders are now calling the inner circle. Cleveland, Miami, Denver, Minnesota, Philadelphia. And Paul wasn't just naming teams. He was giving pros and cons on air, in real time, like he genuinely didn't care who heard it. Here's the part that matters most, though. Shams Charania later reported that Paul has already fielded a dozen calls and pitches from contending teams. Mark Stein and Jake Fisher added that almost every team in the league that could realistically afford LeBron has reached out. This isn't LeBron testing the market quietly. This is the entire league lining up. So let's go team by team, using exactly what Rich Paul said, not speculation, what he actually put on the record. Let's start with the team that insiders are now openly calling the frontrunner. According to Mark Stein and Jake Fisher's reporting, a growing number of teams competing for LeBron now believe Cleveland is looking more and more like the scenario to beat. The idea of the 41-year-old closing out his career with the franchise that drafted him twice over even a flashier option like Golden State. Rich Paul didn't hide his affection for this roster on the podcast either. He talked about LeBron's fit next to Donovan Mitchell and James Harden in the backcourt, and the frontcourt combo of Evan Mobley and Jarrett Allen. And then there's the personal piece, Cavaliers assistant general manager Brandon Weems. Paul called him basically LeBron's brother. That's not a throwaway line. That's a direct pipeline into the front office from someone LeBron trusts completely. But Paul was also honest about the one crack in the plan. Darius Garland is gone from Cleveland, and LeBron, in Paul's words, loves Garland like he loves Tyrese Maxey. That's a real loss on paper. The Cavs don't currently have that same connective playmaker LeBron would have wanted running alongside him. Harden fills a similar role statistically, but it's not the same relationship, and Paul made sure to note that on air. Still, read between the lines here. When your agent's biggest criticism of a team is, the guy I love isn't there anymore, but I still love everything else, that's not a team getting crossed off. That's a team getting talked into contention. Now here's the team that wasn't supposed to be this interesting a month ago. The 76ers traded for Jaylen Brown this offseason, sending Paul George back to Boston in the deal. And according to Rich Paul directly, that trade changed everything in terms of how seriously Philadelphia should be taken in this conversation. Paul pointed to two things specifically. First, the relationships. LeBron has known new Sixers president of basketball operations Mike Gansey since they were both kids in Ohio. And Paul said flatly that LeBron loves Maxey. Second, the roster fit. With Brown now next to Embiid, Maxey, and rookie VJ Edgecombe, Philadelphia suddenly has, in Paul's words, one of the most intriguing young cores in the league. Think about what that lineup could actually look like. Embiid, when healthy, is still one of the most unguardable scorers alive. Maxey gives you the connective playmaking Cleveland is missing. Brown gives you a two-way wing who can guard the other team's best perimeter scorer. And LeBron slides in as exactly what he was in LA, a third or fourth option who elevates everyone's floor. The obvious question mark, Embiid's health has been the story of his entire Sixers tenure. Pairing two aging, injury-prone stars, Embiid and a 41-year-old LeBron, is either a genius have-your-cake scenario or a recipe for two guys watching the playoffs from a suite. Philadelphia's ceiling here might be the highest of anyone on the board. Their floor might be the lowest. Two more names Rich Paul refused to wave off. Start with Miami. This is the "we've done this before" option. LeBron won 2 championships there. He knows Pat Riley, he knows Eric Spoelstra. Paul said a return wouldn't require much adjustment at all. No learning curve, no awkward first year finding a role. Miami has also quietly been viewed as one of the favorites all offseason, reportedly locking up Andrew Wiggins to a new deal and building out a roster that's suddenly more talented than people give it credit for after adding Giannis in a blockbuster this summer. Pairing a 41-year-old LeBron with peak Giannis and Bam Adebayo is the kind of frontcourt that makes opposing coaches lose sleep. But it also means LeBron would need to accept an even smaller role than he had in LA. Then there's Denver, which might be the most fascinating name on the entire board. When Kellerman pushed Paul on whether the Nuggets were even real, Paul didn't blink. If they weren't real, they wouldn't be up there. He brought up LeBron's personal relationship with Nuggets governor Josh Kroenke. The two go back to LeBron's time around the Rams, another Kroenke-owned team. And then there's the basketball case, which honestly doesn't need much selling. Nikola Jokic is arguably the best offensive player alive, and LeBron running pick and rolls, cutting off Jokic's gravity, and getting easy buckets off one of the smartest passers ever to play is a genuinely terrifying proposition for the rest of the league. The catch with Denver is structural, not emotional. Reports indicate the Nuggets would need to bring back their full core on minimum-level money just to squeeze LeBron in financially, and forward Peyton Watson is reportedly seeking a deal north of $25 million a year. Money Denver would need to find room for regardless of what happens with LeBron. It's a fit that makes total basketball sense, and a fit that requires an enormous amount of financial gymnastics to actually happen. And don't sleep on Minnesota either. The Timberwolves are reportedly making a real push, built around the idea of legacy, a core of Anthony Edwards, LaMelo Ball, Jaden McDaniels, and Rudy Gobert that's never won a title, and the pitch that LeBron helping deliver Minnesota's first championship would be its own kind of historic. It's the boldest storyline of any option here, even if it's viewed as more of a long shot than Cleveland, Miami, or Philly. So where does this actually leave us? Insiders describe LeBron himself as, in one report, completely chilling, letting Rich Paul run the entire process while he stays out of it publicly. That tracks. This is a guy who's made the biggest free agency decisions in league history before, and he's never rushed one. He signed with Miami on July 8th back in 2010. He went back to Cleveland on July 11th in 2014. History says this drags into the second week of July at minimum, and multiple people close to the situation now say it might not happen until NBA Summer League tips off in Las Vegas on July 9th or shortly after. Here's my read on it for what it's worth. Cleveland has the momentum right now, and momentum matters in these situations. Perception becomes reality fast in free agency once insiders start converging on a name. The Brandon Weems relationship is a real, tangible edge that no other team can replicate. But Philadelphia's pitch got dramatically stronger the moment Jaylen Brown landed there, and Rich Paul's own words, "That trade changed everything," should not be brushed off. And you can never, ever fully rule out Denver, because you don't get a shot at playing with a prime Nikola Jokic twice in one lifetime. What you should take away from all of this isn't a confident prediction. It's that this decision is genuinely wide open, in a way LeBron's free agency moves haven't been in over a decade. And that alone tells you how much this era of the league is about to shift, no matter which jersey he puts on next. 8 years in Los Angeles, a championship, a franchise rewritten in his image. And now, for the first time in over a decade, LeBron James is genuinely, unpredictably up for grabs. Rich Paul put the board on camera. 5 teams are real. One decision is coming, and it might be the last one of its kind we ever see from him. So here's my question for you. Out of Cleveland, Miami, Denver, Minnesota, and Philadelphia, where do you think LeBron actually ends up? Drop your pick in the comments below. Hit like if you think Cleveland is the real scenario to beat, and subscribe so you don't miss the second this decision drops. And if you want more on how this offseason keeps reshaping the league, check out one of these videos on your screen right now.